Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our regular Thursday evening Zoom call. It's 8 o'clock in the UK. It's the 23rd of April, 2026, St. George's Day. Happy St. George's Day to everybody who understands that. So what we're going to be talking about this evening is e-estate and tokenized real estate. And if you don't know anything about real estate or tokenized real estate, then you're in the right place. And well, let me just explain. There are two types of people that are attracted to this particular business. One is people who have knowledge and experience in real estate, and the other is people who have knowledge and experience in building online communities, online businesses, online business platforms, if you like. And this brings together both of those two worlds, really the best of both worlds. So if you're in either of those camps, welcome, you're going to enjoy this. Now, if you happen to either watch this video or wander into this Zoom call and you haven't got a clue what's going on, don't worry, because, well, one, I was in that position when I first looked at this opportunity, and two, it will be simple enough for you to be able to make a decision at the end of the day. You'll either say, that's I didn't get that, it didn't make any sense, I don't understand it, I don't want to do it, and then you don't have to ever worry about it ever again. Okay. The other decision, which is the one I hope you'll make, is that looked really interesting. I still don't really understand it because it was only half an hour long. It didn't cover everything, but it looked interesting enough that I need to know some more. So if that's the case, we'll give you some instructions at the end of the presentation how to do that. So I'm going to switch over to a PowerPoint presentation, and I love PowerPoint presentations. Not everybody does. And according to, no, not yet. Okay, so according to my computer now, you can see a PowerPoint presentation. Yes, you can. Excellent. So as I said before, I'm Andy Galloway. This is the 23rd of April 2026, and this is an introduction to e-estate. It's not designed to explain absolutely everything. It's just enough to give you either a flavour or enough for you to say, well, yeah, I need some more information, or no, it's not for me. So what is e-estate? We'll just give you a couple of pointers there. E-estate is a property business, and all businesses are moving, all industries are moving from offline to online. Now, when the internet first became very popular in the mid-90s, a lot of people had the forethought to get themselves a website, which was basically a way of advertising what you do to a wider audience. Until then, all of your advertising on the local television, radio, newspaper, whatever it was, would be targeting your local area, whether that's, in the same town or in the same, within 50 miles, whatever it is. There was a limit beyond which you couldn't go because you couldn't service those customers if they were too far away. So the internet opened up the opportunity for people to advertise to a lot more people, for a lot more people to find out what you do. It wasn't really an online business. It was just a window to your existing business. But since probably about, I don't know, I mean, the blockchain was a big pointer in the right direction in terms of digitizing businesses. But really, we've only...
Okay, Andy, you back?
Yes, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, that was weird. Okay. All set.
Okay. So luckily, through the magic of editing, I can get rid of the glitch. So I don't know how much you heard of what I was saying, so I'll just say this all again. When the internet was first developed, it was quite easy for a lot of businesses to move online because they were providing things that could be downloaded, for example, from a website. So, training courses, bits of software, things like that. So those industries moved online fairly quickly and easily. But when you're looking at real world assets, such as real estate and cars and this sort of thing, we couldn't really get those online. Nobody figured out how to get them online. The blockchain was a big pointer in the right direction. But more than the blockchain, we needed the technology of, Web3 technology really to come along so that we can do something called tokenization. And tokenization is where you take a real world asset and you make a digital representation of it, such as tokens, and then people can buy those tokens. And by buying those tokens, they're actually, it's the equivalent of buying a share of that real estate. So you could actually buy a whole skyscraper through an online business now. Okay, and it's a proper representation of that real estate. And so that's kind of what we're doing now. Tokenized real estate has been around since 2015, but nobody really got the hang of it until last year when eEstate, which I'll tell you in a minute, who formed eEstate, where their pedigree is. And they thought, well, we need to get this on really moving. We need to get this tokenized real estate moving. It's going to be a big industry. It's going to shape the world we live in the next 5, 10, 15 years. Certainly the world our children will live in. And so, they're leading the charge, if you like, in tokenized real estate. So we'll come to them in a minute. So all of these industries are moving online, one of which is the real estate industry. And you hear the term real world asset, RWA, then really that's what it means is you have this real world asset, but you also have a digital representation of it in a tokenized version. So the way the real estate's moved into the blockchain space is via tokenization. And eEstate is really leading the charge, as I said just now. eEstate is a collaboration between two pre-existing companies, Eli Property Group Incorporated and the Association of Real Digital Realtors. We'll talk about them. In fact, we'll talk about them right now. So I'm going to get through this because I want to get onto the back office. I want to do a little walk through the back office for brand new people so they can see what's there and how it holds together. Okay, so Eli Property Group have been around for 50 years, been involved in real estate for 50 years, sorry. And I checked them out. I went into great depth of their history, their financial filings for the last 50 years, projects they've been involved with, and they have been acquiring, managing, developing, and selling properties across multiple US markets for the last 50 years. You can't fake that. Okay. And that gave me great faith because when you see online businesses and you're not sure if it's something you can trust, you try to find out about the company. You find it was formed 5 days ago, okay, with $10 in share capital, and you're thinking, I still don't know if I can trust these people or not. But when you've got a company that's been around for 50 years, turning over millions and millions of dollars every year anyway, and they get involved in something like this, you think, well, they wouldn't risk all of that for something that's going to be a little bit not quite up to snuff. Okay, so that gave me great faith in the whole project to find out that this is a proper real estate business. I've been in real estate for 20 years and I deal with a lot of these companies, developers and the marketing companies and the legal people, the finance people and so on. I've dealt with all those people. So to find somebody like this involved in the mix, I thought that was really good. It's like something I knew. Okay, the Association of Real Digital Realtors is a professional standards organization, if you like. So when you join eEstate, you don't have to become an agent, but if you do become an agent, then you're signing to say you agree and agree to abide by the rules of being an agent. And there's quite a lot of stuff. There's a charter and there's a contract and there's a few other things that you need to comply with. And so you're agreeing to do that. The reason is, of course, we don't want just any old Joe Lunchbucket running around the internet purporting to be a real digital realtor when they haven't got a clue what they're talking about. What they're actually trying to do is to rip people off for money. So we don't want that. So we all want to, those of us that are involved in that side of the business, we all want to be compliant with ARDR, and we want all the other agents to do the same. We want to develop this professionality that's been put in place for us. So they're a professional association and they establish the credibility, structure and long-term career legitimacy. And they have developed and continue to develop a global agent network for digital real estate agents. So you don't have to be an agent. You can join e-estate just to buy property, and that would be a good deal as well. So I'm not going to go through this. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the share, and we're going to go over to my my browser, which is on another screen. And hopefully we'll be able to see that any second now. Okay, my computer's not told me you can see that, but I'm assuming you can. So what happens? How do we get involved? I'm going to go and do something before your very eyes. I'm going to get my referral link from here, and then what? Sorry, I don't know if I shared the right thing. Let me just check that. No, I didn't. Okay, so you probably didn't notice any change, but I have done something a bit different. So I go to an incognito window, which hopefully you can see as well, and I paste that link. So if I wanted to introduce somebody to e-estate, I would send them that link that I've just copied, and I'll show you. We'll go into that in a little bit more detail. When somebody goes to, they follow my link, this is what they see. As soon as the e-estate logo stops pulsing. Okay, it's not stopped pulsing yet, but this is what they see. Some information about me, my journey, my e-estate journey. And I can add some words in here to say make a smarter move today. I can change that whole thing there to reflect what I want people to see when they come to my site. I haven't done that, but I can. And they can go to the home page. They can go to the about page, to tokenization. So there's all this information they can learn about how the e-wallet works, what a buyer is, what an agent is, and so on. And at any time, they click on the link to register, to sign up. And when they sign up, because they followed my link to get to this page, they will end up registering with me. And you see here, we've gone to my registration page, and that's me. So there, if I were really a person following these links to sign up, then I would be signing up to me. So just to let you know, that bit works really well. Now, something you can do if you want to, no, we'll come on to that in a minute. So let's go back to the dashboard here. Once you've registered and then you log into the site, this is where you go. It's the dashboard, and the dashboard really is kind of snippets from a lot of other pages. Okay, so some information here about the properties, your e-wallet, the money wheel, your agent journey, your knowledge base, and so on. Okay, so this is all just little bits from all the other pages, but you can click any of these things and end up on that page. Anyway, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you the menu. We have this very, very simple menu here. We have the buyer, and under the buyer, we have e-wallet, real estate, and my assets. We have, if you become an agent, then you have an agent tab as well, agent panel, my clients, a landing page. And that's where I went just now to get the referral link. There's a rewards page where you can track your achievements, and the money wheel. And then there's info hub where you can check out the knowledge base of videos and documents, and the help center. So we're going to go through all of that very, very quickly. So if all you want to do is be a buyer, then you follow the link and you register as a buyer, and then here you are ready to buy properties. So you go to the buyer page and you go to real estate. So in the real estate here, you can see all of the different properties. You click on here, this takes you to the lake house, then the house, then the desert villa, and then the villa, and then the villa in Mali, so this is a villa in Mali, nice place. Then one of the commerce properties, a business property, land plots, and development, and business development. And then we go back to the Miami apartment. So that's just like a carousel. And as we get more and more properties, that'll take you longer and longer to get through. But a slightly easier way, certainly when there's a lot of properties available, an easier way is from the drop-down list. So if I were to go, for example, I went to the lake house, that's exactly the same as when I scrolled through here to get to the lake house. Now, this thing that I'm playing with on the right-hand side here is called a profit calculator. And there is another calculator, if I remember, if I've got time, I'll share that with you. But in this profit calculator, you can select the property you want, and it tells you the minimum amount to get into each property. And it tells you if you get in for that, how much you're going to make per day, per month, how much you're going to make for 18 months, and then where your break-even point is. So the total profit is for 18 months. Most of these properties, you acquire the property, you earn money every day, Monday to Friday, for 18 months. And at the end of 18 months, the property then goes into a passive phase. So instead of earning money every day, you earn money twice a year at the rate of 10%. So if you put $1,000 in, you earn money every day for 18 months. And after 18 months, it goes into a passive phase. And you earn $100 per year for doing nothing. And that's you get $50 twice a year. Okay, so that's called the passive phase. There are some exceptions to that, and we'll cover those in a minute. Now, although that's the minimum amount, I could, if I wanted to, put $1,000 in, and this is my total profit, and that's how much per day, and so on. Okay, now my break-even point is 11 months. I can put in 5,000. Okay, if I wanted to. So I don't have to stick to the minimum amount. You can use this now to start looking at your strategies. So how much money do you want to put in? Do you want it all in one property? Do you want to spread it across several different properties? You get different rates for different things. So yeah, you get different rates for different properties, and you just have to sort of get a bit of paper and a pen. Some of you remember how to use pen and paper, and just work out, well, I've got this much money to invest, and we'll put this much into this property, this much into that property, and so on. Now, what I would strongly recommend is don't spend money that you can't afford to lose. This is a good, solid business, in my opinion, but that's only my opinion. If something does go wrong, because there are things that can go wrong, even if it's a good, solid business. So never, cash in your pension to buy properties. Never, I don't know, get hold of your life savings. Never take out a second mortgage to get money to put into these properties. Okay, I think it would be a good idea to do that. But I'm telling you now, I wouldn't do it myself. I haven't done it myself, and I wouldn't recommend anybody else doing that. Because you can start small with this, a few hundred or a few $1,000s, and build up by compounding. Every time you get your profit, you can build up and get and buy another property. And I'll show you that in just a second. In fact, I'll show you it now. So in this, that's a business development. Let's see if we've got villa, does a villa house. So let's say this house, okay. The minimum to get involved in this house is $1,000, and you're going to make $109 per month. So every 10 months you can buy another one of these. Okay, put another $1,000 in. So now you've got two houses. So now you're earning $218 a month. So now it's only 5 months before you can buy another property. And then you've got 3 properties, so you're earning $327 a month. So it's only 3 months before you can afford another property. Okay, now bear in mind that first one drops into the 18-month passive phase at some point, but that's how you can start compounding your profits to end up with more and more and more property. And as you do that, you'll find that one day you'll be able to buy a property every single day. Okay, so that's the way to do it. You don't need to put everything in right at the very beginning. So this profit calculator is very, very useful for doing these sorts of things. There are some other properties. An apartment, for example. We don't have this now, they're sold out, but at the time it was you could buy $117 worth of this property. So if you had the house making $100 a day, then you could buy one of these every single day, or $117 worth every single day, Monday to Friday. So you can see that there are different ways of doing things. You need to get your own thinking cap on. Sit down with somebody who introduced you to this, who understands this, the way this works, how to strategize to really maximize your growth. You can have tremendous growth just by thinking about it, find out what you want, and then figure out how you're going to get it. And eEstate will be able to provide it for you. Okay, so that's kind of what I want to talk about, the real estate side. When you're buying a property, let's suppose we were buying a share of the lake house, so we're going to buy $250 worth, then we can click on buy a property. And now we have a number of different ways of funding that. So I've got some money in my e-wallet. I could use $250 of that to pay for this, or I could change the price I'm going to pay to $353. I could also pay in Tether, four different flavors, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's only 10, so we haven't missed very many. So we've got 9 different flavors of Tether, USDC, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different USDC, Bitcoin, my favorite of all time, then Bitcoin on the Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum on the Ethereum chain, and also on the Binance chain, Litecoin, and so on. So there are lots and lots of different ways of paying your $250 in. All you do, select one of those, and when you click on Pay Now, it will give you a wallet address to which you send your Litecoin, Bitcoin, whatever it is. Don't get that wrong. Okay, the blockchains are a lot more friendly now than they used to be. It used to be if you sent Bitcoin to an Ethereum address, you'd lose it. Now it just bounces back. As long as your address is still valid, it will bounce back to you, which is another good reason for using an intermediate wallet. So don't send your money from, for example, Coinbase to eEstate. Send it to your own non-custodial wallet, the one that you control, so that if something goes wrong and it has to bounce back, you know that that wallet is still there. If you send the money from Coinbase and something goes wrong, they'll send it back to the wallet where it came from. Coinbase has already destroyed that wallet. It's a one-use type thing, so they won't know where the money's come from. All they'll know is it turns up and goes into their coffer somewhere, but they won't know where it's come from, who it belongs to. So just be careful of that. Okay, so we've got the option to pay now, and we can click on this called enable auto capitalization or not enable auto capitalization. I'll tell you what that's all about. If you want the profit to come back to you every single day, then you switch off the auto capitalization, and you see the money comes into your wallet 5 days a week, and that way you can have money coming in from several properties and then still buy a different property or withdraw the money if you want to. Why you'd want to be withdrawing money, I have no idea, but some people do. Sorry, that was meant to be tongue-in-cheek. I withdraw money quite frequently. Now, if you click the enable auto or check the auto capitalization, what that means is that every day that profit goes into buying you a little bit more of that property. So by the time the 18 months rolls around and that property is now going to go into the passive phase, let's suppose you started with $1,000. What's going into the passive phase for you now is probably closer to $4,000, certainly more than $3,000. Okay, so yes, you don't get that money, but that's what's earning you 10% a year until we get rid of the property. And then when we get rid of the property, you get back that $3,000 or $4,000. If all you did is put $1,000 in and don't enable auto capitalization, so you get the profit to do with as you like, when that property sells at some point in the future, it might be 10, 15, 20 years down the road, the property sells, you get your $1,000 back. Okay, because you own those tokens. That's the way it works. You own the tokens, so when they sell the property, the value of the tokens gets redeemed, the tokens get burned, and you get your money back. So if I were to click on Pay Now, it would take me somewhere where I have to sign a contract, click a button, get it onto my touch screen down here, sign it with my finger, and that's the contract signed. I'll show you some of those in a minute. I'm not going to buy a property right now. So that's how to be a buyer. If I want to become an agent, then I click here to become an agent. It's pointless me clicking it because it wouldn't work for me the way it would work for you if you're not yet an agent. And it takes you somewhere where you commit to complying with all the rules about being an agent. You have to find out some information, pass a test, commit to being a decent, honest, upstanding person, and also commit to paying a subscription. The subscription is $90 a year or $9 a month. So not a massive amount, but there's a legal part to that where they will you are agreeing to be bound by the rules just by virtue of the fact that you're paying some money for it. So please give me just a second. Won't be a second. Again, a little bit late. So that's becoming an agent. This information here is about this particular property we're looking at, the Lake House. It tells us what profit we made on the 23rd, the 22nd, the 21st, the 20th, and then not over the weekend, but then the 17th, the 16th, the 15th. If I change to a different property, that shows different profits on those same days. Okay, so that's the buyer, the real estate. The e-wallet is just very simple. It's a great wallet that you can make a deposit in any one of a number of different coins again, or you can withdraw, and you can withdraw in any one of a number of different coins. Minimum of $40 to withdraw, and then you pay 1%. So I'd receive $39.60. It's very simple. Enter my 6-digit PIN, which is 123456, so that I don't forget it. And I can select any one of a number of coins to receive my withdrawal in. Bitcoin, I like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, and Tether. So it's less, but it's still pretty good. So once you put the number in, confirm, and that's it. The money will be with you within about 24 hours. So deposit and withdraw. And if you know somebody, you have somebody in e-estate and you want to send them some money, then you can send it internally. This is useful. What I do here is if I introduce somebody and I say, well, let's get you involved, and I'll put $100 towards your first property, then I send them $100 internally here, and they can then add to it if they want to, or just buy a property for $100. But I do need to remember that if I'm going to send $100, they're only going to receive $99 because 1% of that gets, the company takes that to basically to keep the lights on. So we want it to be 101.01, yes. And they then receive that $100. So these are recent operations that have happened on my account. I can go and see all of those. Just some adverts here. My assets, I can get to it there, and I can also get to it here. So my assets is a list of all the properties that I've purchased, and here's the list. So I've got the apartment, the house, the villa, the apartment, the apartment, the apartment. Okay, and so this keeps track of all of my purchases. These icons here are nice because the one here is the contract, and every single property you purchase has got this signed contract. So I download and keep safe the contracts for each of these apartments. If I want to see the transaction, when I purchase that property, then I can look here on the Binance Smart Chain, the Binance Smart Chain blockchain, and go see that actual transaction. To keep track of it, to show ownership of it. If I want to know how much money I've made for any property, then I can look at the profit history, and I can load more. I can go all the way back to the first day when I first purchased that property, and this tells me whether I've enabled auto capitalization or not. So you can see that I started off doing it because I thought it was a good idea, and then I realized that when I show people my back office, I've got no profit to show them. And that's the thing that impresses most people. They want to see that you're making some profit and that you can withdraw your profit. So then I stopped with the auto capitalization, and I make some money every day. You'll see that in a second. So you can see here's a list of all the profit that's been credited to me for different things. This is profit statistics for all of my properties. I don't have every single property type, but I've made profit from the villa, from the house, the apartment, and the apartment MIA. Okay, now this balance here, this is what I've earned so far, is not in my e-wallet. That's actually still in EST, the internal token. But if I want that converted to USDT and sent to my e-wallet, I just click on transfer, put in my 6 digits, and bang, it's off to the e-wallet. Okay, so that's the buyer, pretty much done. The agent, you don't get to see the agent until you've actually agreed to be an agent. You've signed, you've got your certificate and so on. So let's show you what the certificate looks like when you're an agent. Is that so you can print that, put it up on the wall, emboss it if you like. It's a pretty good looking certificate, and you can't get one unless you pass the tests. It confirms the completion of the ARDR Digital Realtors training course. Okay, so you've got to do that, and you've also got to be a member by keeping up your subscription. Just realized the time has really got away from us. So we have an agent panel. I'm not going to show you that. We have the my clients panel. I'm not going to show you that because there's information on there about my clients, names, email addresses, that sort of thing. So it's not a good idea to put this is going out on the internet in general. So it's not a good idea to have that floating around. I don't think people would appreciate it too much. But I can show you the landing page. This is where we started a little while ago. And so if I want to change the personal information, I can. And I can change the subtitle that's below my name. I can also, I can also enter my own custom real estate offer. I can put a title in here. I can put lots of nice words about me, save that, and that would then become part of my landing page. I could also add my own presentation if I want to. So it's flexible. So if I want to see what the landing page looks like, I click on this eyeball here, and we get taken to this page where we were earlier. So you probably recognize that. That's where we were about 20 minutes ago. Now, if I want to send somebody directly to this page, I can give them that link, this link up the top here, or I can, if you're in Google for sure, you can do this. Sorry, it's not there. Right click, create a QR code for this page, and now I can just do a quick snippet of that QR code and send it to people, or I can download it and send it to people. They scan that and they end up on this page that you can see now. Okay, so just different one. It shows you as well it shows you there the link, which is at the top. Now, if I want to get people to go to, sorry, I'm going to copy that, and you'll see why in a minute. Copy that. Because if I click on join now, it doesn't take somebody to my join now page. It doesn't take somebody to my registration page, it takes them to here. Ah, of course. We're opening an incognito window. So yeah, so it takes somebody to this page and they can then add all their details and join. Okay, so I have that option as well. I can make a QR code of that as well. But if is that right? Yeah. So I click on join now. Takes me to that page. I keep doing that. I'm so sorry. You don't have to be clever to do this. Go off on auto. Yeah, so to make a QR code here, I just right click and create. Now, if I create the QR code for this page, okay, that's not right. If I send people to that page, they'll end up on a page that looks like this, but it won't have my details in it. Let me show that to you. So renew. So this is where somebody, okay, just to prove me wrong. So what I was going to say is when you want to make your QR codes, then put the proper link in here. Don't rely on that one. Make sure your join link goes in there. So that's your landing page. And we'll get rid of the landing page. We'll go back to the dashboard. We'll go back to here. Agent. We've finished the agent. Let's do rewards. There's a list of things to achieve. So here, your level 1 achievements. I've achieved all of my level 1. It's saying 8 completed, 0 in progress, none available. My level 2 achievements, I've completed 6, 1's in progress and 1 other's available. So there's a list of, so you can see I've checked off all of these and I've got to purchase at level 2, I've got to purchase a property and I've got to unlock 15 buyer achievements. So I've completed 14 out of 15. So when I do that one, so when I do the 15th one, I will end up with this and I'll get a reward for that. Then I can go on to level 3 achievements. They're not available because it doesn't unlock until I finish level 2. This is my career progress, if you like. So you can see where you are in your agent career. Also, you can see that as a buyer and as an agent, of course. So going into the other rewards is the money wheel. A lot of things that you do, you earn ETK. When you have 100 ETK, you can spin the money wheel. You can earn ETK every day just by logging into your site, log into your back office every single day and come here and collect your earnings, which gives you 31 ETK every day. So every week you get 31 ETK, and that means that every week every 3 weeks you can get a spin on the wheel. You could earn up to or win up to $1,000. Okay, my wife's good at this. I let her do all this for me. She wins. I win down around here. The 50 cents, $1, $1.50. She wins up here, the $5, $10, $25. So I like her doing that. And then you have the info hub here. The knowledge base is pretty phenomenal. Just the FAQs, you have 3 different types of FAQs. One is general, one is for buyers, one is for agents. So that's just the FAQs. Off of this menu here, we're on FAQs. If we go into documentation now, we have so much documentation. We have a roadmap to the future of tokenized real estate that goes up to 2034. You can just click that to open it. There's something about the registration, company registration, legal identifier certificate, partnership certificate with ARDR. some detailed information about the lake house. I mean, pages and pages of detail, as if you went to a real estate agent to buy that house. You can see the kitchen layout, the size, the pictures that have been taken, local amenities, schools, banks, shops, and that sort of thing. It's a really, really good report. And we've got the same for the desert villa and the same for the villa in Maui. So you can have all of that information. Contracts and financial support. So we've got the 2025 financial report. That's a phenomenal document. I would suggest, even if you don't know how to read a financial report, read it anyway. Just skim through it because it will blow your mind. There are properties, the value of some of the properties when we first got them, they were valued, and now the value of them today is 60% price increase and that sort of thing. So that all benefits us. That's all good for us. The agent employment contract, the token purchase contract, that's the one you get every single time you purchase a property. So that's a blank one, so you can have a look at it before you ever buy a property. There's a buyer presentation, an agent presentation, there's an agent charter, an agent code of conduct, and if you want to get started fast as an agent, they've even got an agent fast start playbook. That's pretty awesome. And then the other thing that a lot of people like is the merch. There's mugs and there's baseball caps, there's polo shirts with different slogans and logos and things like that. The idea being you're drinking a mug at work with some smart logo about, or some smart slogan about real estate, and somebody asks you a question. That's really what the merch is for. It's your advertising window. You're wearing a baseball cap that talks about real estate. People go, "Oh, I didn't know." Well, what's that all about? So then that started the conversation. Okay, so it's good. A lot of people make a lot of business just by using the merch. And then the last thing here is the video hub. So there are some great videos here. Well, just great videos. There's also, where are they? This is a 2-minute video. Sorry, maybe it's gone up a bit now. It's probably about 4 minutes, but it's really, really good. It's dynamic. The music's live. The whole thing is moving fast. And by the time somebody gets through one of those videos, they will know absolutely everything they need to know about ESA. They won't realize it, but later when they know more and they come back and watch a video, they go, wow, everything was in there. Okay. And everything's explained clearly, concisely. And it's an exciting video to give people to get their interest. So they're in various different languages. You see the image is the same, but they're in different languages. So, and then there's some other videos here, the AMA session, 1 year estate, the 1 year anniversary we've just celebrated. Okay. This is about the new apartments in Miami. That's a little bit dated now, for 4 months or so. Okay, so a lot of great videos there for you to watch, to learn, and find out everything you need to know about e-estate. Now, you haven't got to do it all in the next day or two, but over a period of time, commit yourself to learning how the system works, because there's a lot of money to be made in this. And normally, if you imagine how much work you had to do, how much study you had to do for your job, and your job only pays you just enough money to keep you alive, to pay your bills, to keep you alive so you can come back next week and do it all over again. Okay, so your job, imagine how much time and effort you put into learning for your job. Some people went to college and to university, or did external courses or night classes just for the chance of getting a job, so as they can learn to get the job. Now you don't have to do that, but you have got all this stuff available. It's only, I don't know how many hours, but it's not a huge number of hours. In reality, it's probably, if you were to commit yourself to working, or to work your way through these at, say, 4 or 5 hours a day, there's less than a week's worth of work there to do. So commit yourself to that, not necessarily in a week, but over a period of time. It will make you a great e-estate agent or a great e-estate buyer. So that's the back office walkthrough. What I will do is come back to I'll stop the share. Sorry, I won't stop the share. I'm going to share something else, but first I'm going to skip through a few slides and then share back to the original presentation. Okay, so what to do now? Get back to the person who invited you. Get their estate agent's referral link. I showed you that. Register, look around the site. And if you have a business and want the business to register as a buyer, select the business option. So when you're registering, just select the business account. Discuss your real estate plans with your introducer and register as an agent if you wish to introduce other people, if you plan to at some point in the future. Deposit your money, make your first purchase, and join the Telegram groups and the Facebook groups and so on. There are Zoom calls and webinars every day of the week. When you join the Telegram group or the Facebook group, whichever, the TikTok group or Instagram group, you'll be able to find all the information about all of the presentations. There are some days there are 3 or 4 different presentations. It depends on your time scale. It depends on who you like. There's some really, really good presenters, you know, and dynamic and exciting, and you know, get there and listen to them. They've all got something else to say, something different to say. You know, they all bring their own personality and their own life experience to the job. So I've shown you the back office. There's all this stuff you can still read. I've shown you all of that. So there we go. That's an introduction to e-estate. I'm going to stop the share, come back to the room. I think you all have the ability to unmute yourselves. Now, I appreciate the time's got away from us. I don't want you to blame yourselves for that. It's probably my fault, but I'm not going to commit to anything. But having said that, you know, you've been patient, waited this long. If you do have any questions you want answered, I'll do my best to answer them. But you need to unmute yourself, or you can put your hand up. If you don't know how to do that, at the bottom of your Zoom screen, there's a react button, which is kind of a heart on a bit of a slant. You click on that, and there are 2 buttons across the very bottom of the pop-up box. One of them is raise hand. So if you want to ask a question, by all means, go in once, go in twice. No, okay. So the scary thing is, you know as much as I know now, which is precious little. You can make a lot of money in this without knowing everything about everything. I was talking to somebody just before the call started, and we both got a real estate background, and it's amazing how much stuff you had to know before you could even get taken seriously out there in the real estate world. Here, you don't need anybody's permission. You want to buy a property, go and buy a property. You want to introduce some people, go and introduce some people. Okay, it's so simple, so simple. It's got all the benefits of a traditional real estate business without any of the hassle. You don't have to deal with the clients, you don't have to deal with the legal side, you don't have to deal with mortgage companies, you don't even have to deal with the buyers, because the company will market to your buyers for you. By and large, they're you know, you can put somebody in the business as a buyer and be there if they need help, but mostly they won't need help. They've got access to all the information you've got, and they just get on with it. So, you know, in that sense, it's a great option. If you are interested in real estate, this is the best thing I've ever seen. And I say that unequivocally. I could share some stuff with you about real estate deals I've done compared to what we're doing here, and this is just so much better, so much more money, so much less hassle. It doesn't. I could talk for hours just about that. I'm not going to. I know, breathe a sigh of relief, but I could. So if that's you, then welcome to e-estate. And if you're looking for an online business and don't really care that it's real estate, as long as it's something good and solid where you can earn money, well, welcome to real estate. To e-estate, because it is that. It is a good online platform, good and solid. It's going to be around for a very long time. It's affordable for everybody to get in. It's something everybody's interested in, and so, you know, you can be very, very successful using it as just an online business. So with that, I wish you every success with whatever you're going to do with e-estate. Hopefully, I've provided you enough information for you to make a decision about where to go from here. So with that, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to say God bless. See you all next Thursday, 8 o'clock, same time, same channel. and have a wonderful, wonderful week until then. God bless. Bye now.